All right, so for anyone who wants it to be dark blue like I have here, under your account in the top right, under preferences, you just change your theme to, you can pick manually. I have mine set to just be based on what my computer's theme is. But let's get started. It seems like pretty much everyone has Fusion open. So everyone, I'm trying to remember what we've done in this class. Everyone has worked with sketches before and extrusions, right? Yeah. And then I've shown you guys, I've given you some little previews of the Forms workspace. We watched one or two videos about like topology in the Forms workspace. Let's go ahead and make our kind of demo sunglasses in the Forms workspace. It's a little easier to get more organic shapes. And so for a lot of you, this will end up being easier, depending on what kind of shape design choice you go for. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go create form. And that's going to pull me into the Forms workspace here, right? So I very often, not just for sunglasses, I like to start with a cylinder for whatever reason. So we're going to start with a cylinder, and it makes a lot of sense, especially with sunglasses. So we're going to click cylinder, and then it's going to wait for you to pick a plane to place the cylinder on. So this cylinder is going to be, we're going to start with like the center bridge of the glasses here. And so this would be, if you're looking at your glasses, right, this is somewhat cylindrical. So we're going to be looking at it side on. So I'm going to orbit around until I'm looking at the right-hand side here and placing it on the right-hand side plane. I'm going to click on the plane once to set the plane. And then I'm just going to go ahead and click once up here and move my cursor out and click again to place the cylinder. Now I have a bunch of options here. Diameter, height faces, a lot of stuff like that. I'm going to change my height faces to 1. Notice how that makes this pretty simple. Actually, I'm going to change it to 2. Just kidding. And then I'm going to change it to 2 so that I can set the symmetry to mirror. And then I'm just going to tick and untick these boxes until it gives me the green circle around the length of the cylinder like we have here. So that green circle is showing you the center of the mirror here. And one nitpick here, but could be important later on, is what you'll notice is this is coming off of this center plane. So if I go here, it's coming off of this side, but I want my center line to be right on the axis line just because I'm picky like that. So I'm going to change my direction from one side to symmetric. And so now you see that's going to pull it across the center plane here. So my center line is also the center plane of the origin on this green y-axis. It may be a different color axis for you, but depending on what your default is. But mostly what I'm concerned with is this is on the center here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And so now I have this cylinder. For when you go to make your design of sunglasses down the line, you'll want to figure out what scale they need to be. So maybe you're going to pull in some sketches that you set to scale or whatever. For just showing you what Fusion's capable of right now, I'm just going to not really set these to any particular scale. Yeah, so let's go ahead and start kind of using this cylinder as our starting point for our glasses. If you go ahead and double click on an edged loop, it's going to loop select, so everything's selected in blue. And remember, green is your mirror line, and then yellow is telling you, hey, this is the other side of your selection that you have going on over here, because it's mirrored. What's that? Yeah. It's not terribly important for what we're doing today. Basically, that's going to decide how many of these segments there are. 8 is going to be kind of the smallest number that's still acceptably round. If you're not going for something round, whatever. In fact, let me show you then, before I go ahead and loop select this and start editing stuff, I'm going to change the profile of the shape a little bit just so that you can see what we can do. So if I select this edge, double click to select across, and this edge, and then I go to my edit form tool, and actually, sorry, I don't want to select, yeah, we'll select both of them. If I drag this upwards a little bit, and then maybe if I drag this to scale it outwards a little bit, you see how we're kind of flattening the top? And by the way, what I'm dragging here, this is your scale in a linear direction. And then this corner piece will let you scale in kind of a planar direction. And then this very middle one is going to be scaling in all 3 dimensions. But okay, I've flattened off the top of mine here. It's okay if yours is still round, whatever. But I would say for your glasses design, whatever you end up doing, I would start by knowing what your intent is. Is everything going to be perfectly tubular and round? Do you want kind of a flat top and round bottom? Do you want it relatively square? Whatever. Yeah, you make your move there. You can also, if you want to, you can just select and delete line segments if you feel like they're overcomplicating things. So you could do that, whatever. The core of what I'm going to be doing here, though, is we're going to double click to loop select this and go to our edit form tool. And I'm just going to start kind of dragging things out, and maybe I'll rotate it a little bit. And then if you hold Option on your keyboard, I think on Windows it's Control, maybe Alt. If you hold that down and then click and drag this guy, it's going to give you another segment. So see how when I'm holding that, I'm getting a bunch of additional segments, whereas if I don't hold Option on Mac, like I said, I think it's Control. See how it's just moving the existing segment? That's what I'm going for here. Okay, so this is kind of like the bridge, right, between our 2 lenses here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drag this out a little more. I'm going to hold Option to make one more. And then I'm just going to go ahead and scale this guy way up to start to get the curvature of the lenses, of the side of them, that is. Is everyone following along here? Any questions so far? Cool. Okay. So I've kind of curved this upwards. I'm also going to go ahead and let's do, trying to decide how I want to do this. Let me show you the insert point command. So up here, you have an insert point. If it's not showing here under modify, you should have insert point here. It's kind of misleading. It says insert point. You're actually inserting an edge. So if I click on one point here and then another one here, and then click OK, it's inserted another edge for me rather than a point. And I'm going to do that a few times. I'm going to do once more here. I'm going to do that on the back side as well. Okay. So now I have, and you'll understand in a second better why I'm doing this, but now I have an additional kind of segment in the middle of this here, right? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on just this central edge that I just created, that I kind of subdivided out of this longer edge. And then I am going to go edit form, hold Option or Control, and drag that guy out. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. I'm going to click on hold option, drag this guy. Oops, I did the wrong thing there. Drag this guy out here. Then I'm going to click OK. So now you have these kind of fingers sticking out here. I'm just going to go ahead and stitch these edges together using the weld vertices command. If it's not showing up for you here, it's under modify. And then you could also merge edge, but we're going to just use weld vertices for now, just to keep things simple and keep the number of tools that I'm teaching you in one day relatively minimal. And then I'm just going to click on 2 points that I want to be connected. And at first, it's going to go all boxy for a second. Once you select the bottom two, now you'll get your smooth display again. And then I'll click OK. So I hope it's starting to be kind of self-explanatory here why I did that. This is going to start the upper half of our lens here, and then this is going to start melding into our lower half here. So I'm just going to double click to loop select. I'm going to go to edit form, and I'm just going to hold option and just start dragging these guys out. And maybe you want to, one trick I like to use, I have a bunch of curvature going this way. If I want to make everything pretty straight, I'll use one of my scale bars here. And I'll just click and hold, and I'll just scale it way down. See how it kind of straightens everything out until I'm at like 0.01. And so now I have a nice flat surface here. Just can be a little easier to work with. You don't have to do it, but I like to. And then I'm just going to go ahead and start stretching and warping and scaling however you see your sunglasses in your mind. And then once I'm happy with the placement of that, I'll just hold option, drag out again, and rotate a little more. Oops. Like so. And then just keep going. Less is more when it comes to the amount of segments you have. So these are all based on splines, and the less handles you have on a spline, the easier it is to kind of change things and do whatever you need to. So I'm going to try and keep my curvature. I'm tightly spacing these little segments here, and then as my curvature gets longer and flatter, I don't need them to be as tightly spaced. So this one is a longer span than this one, which is a little more curved, and then this one, which is even more curved. Any questions at all, by the way? Just shout them out as I'm going along. I hope this is a good pace.
Could you just go over how to make the edges bigger again?
What's that?
Like expanding the edges.
Uh-huh.
Could you go over that again?
Yeah, so when you say expanding the edges, are you talking about like scaling them and moving them around like this? Oh, like how I'm pulling out more of it?
No, like making them, making the diameter bigger.
The diameter bigger, you said?
Making the diameter bigger.
Yeah, so like this, is this what you're talking about, what I'm doing here?
Yeah.
So this guy, that's these are the kind of scaling handles here. So you can scale just in a linear direction. So this guy only goes in one way. You can scale in two directions here, which is the corner one. So you can make it all flare out. And then this third one won't really change much in this case because everything's pretty much on one plane here. But this is a three-dimensional scale. Does that answer your question? Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pull this out once more. And then I'm going to go ahead and start on the bottom half of my lens here. So I'm going to loop select this guy and just start doing the same thing I've been doing. I'm just holding option, dragging it down. Let's see.
how you like attached the center faces of the cylinder on the bridge to like create the two like prongs?
Yeah, okay. Well, let's see. Let's do this. I'll do it once more here. So I just took the edge and then just the single edge, not a loop select, just one edge, and hold Option and then drag it out. And then same for the other side. I'm just going to take that, hold Option, drag it out. And then I'm using the Weld Vertices tool. And then that just lets you select on two vertices here and stick them together like so. And then now you have your top and bottom. So let's see. Cool. What's that?
We're welding vertices, not edges.
You're welding vertices, not edges?
Yeah.
You guys, can you speak up a little bit?
Yeah,
more?
sorry.
It's kind of hard to hear you.
Okay. Yeah, it's a little weird how it does the vertice welding. Like I kind of alluded to earlier, you could also do merge edge, but it's in some ways less powerful, or at least a little less controllable. So I just start with weld vertices, but you can play around with whatever it's called, merge edges, if you want to do that too. Okay, so I'm going to keep going along here and dragging this outwards. Okay, so now I have to get to a point where I'm kind of joining these two together. I'm going to get them a little closer here. There's a handful of ways you could do this. The real important thing to understand here is you have to have an equal number of edge loops between them. So if I count this, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Segments here, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can connect these together. Let me see if I can do this the easy way, which would be to just bridge. So under Modify, you have a bridge tool. And if I double click to select that loop, and then double click to select this loop, let's see if it'll work. Yes, it will. Okay. So you can do that. Sometimes the results you get aren't quite as nice. In my case, I might kind of get these a little bit closer to how I want them to join. Another thing that you can do also, let's just keep it simple. I'm just going to do the bridge for now. Once you guys are doing your own designs, I'm sure I'll be up here showing more stuff. So for now, I'm just going to keep it simple. We're going to stick with the bridge. And then click OK. And then I have this kind of weird taper going on here that I'm not loving. So I'm just going to go ahead and go back through and slim up some of my, my shapes here. Like so. And then some of these loops also kind of aren't exactly necessary. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete that one. Cool. So I've got the majority of the glasses done here, but I still want to do the arms. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to click on this face here and this one here and just delete them. And now it's going to give me a nice round opening that I can loop select and then hold Option or Control, and I can start dragging that out into the arm. So I'll do it one more time. All I did was just, anytime you delete any faces, it just opens up a void, which I find can be very useful for something like this, where I'm just adding in some more, kind of tacking on an additional piece.
So a loop select is just double click?
Yeah, just double click and it'll select a whole loop. And then you just start dragging them out and playing with your arms. Now, one thing I'm thinking right now is my glasses are a little flat. Before I do that, I am going to show you one other tool because it's going to be easier to implement now than later. So I'm going to undo when I deleted those. And I'm going to use what is called soft modification. And this will allow you to select a handful of things. And you're going to see this kind of reddish fall off. And I'm going to increase the distance here. So I just switched from like millimeter measurement distance to face count. I often prefer face count. Until you see I have the darkest red here and it kind of fades out to lighter pink and white. So any changes I make right now are going to affect this area the most, but it's still going to affect this area a little bit too. So if I drag this guy back a little bit and maybe rotated it a little bit, I'm getting a nice kind of, it's curving everything. If I don't have my soft modification on, so I'm going to undo that. If I have soft modification off, if I move this over, it's real weird. It's going to kind of mess with your model. So it's just a really easy way to make kind of a change to a large portion of your model. In this case, just kind of curving and contouring this to your face a little more, like so. Okay, and I'm actually even going to change my fall off to bulge. You can toy around with this, see what works right. I'm actually not liking that as much as I thought I would.
Yeah, what were you trying to do? What does that do?
What's that?
What were you trying to do? What does that do?
So this will change if you just click on these, you're going to see it kind of switches up kind of how the fall off ramps off, whether it's more or less. So I was just kind of playing around with that, see if I liked one better than the other, but I'm kind of liking the smooth transition of the best. So okay, now I've curved my glasses back a little bit, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to do that thing that I was doing before. I'm going to select this guy and this guy, delete them. I might even try selecting those two. And then I'm going to double click and loop select that and just start dragging it out. Let me taper this guy up. Cool. So I've got my arms here, and let's say I want them to taper off nicely into a point. I'm just going to go ahead and scale this guy way down here. That's a little excessive, actually. Cool. Like so. And then I still have this open end, so if I just double click and loop select that, I can modify and fill hole. Just gonna close up the end right there for me, like so. So now I've filled in the end there. I'm gonna use my my fall off again, so I'm gonna use, or my soft modification, it's called in Fusion. I'm just gonna select that once more, select this, and I'm gonna kind of rotate it inwards a little bit, like so. Cool. And that would be a simpler, a simpler kind of glasses shape. Any questions at all? Any tool? Yeah, what's up?
When you go to bridge, you said that there needs to be an equal amount of segments, right?
When it bridge
When
it.
you go to use the bridge tool, you said that there needs to be an equal amount of segments, right?
Yeah.
Let's say they're not even. What would you do?
Oh, yeah, great question. So let me recreate that issue here. Okay, so you've got two pieces that you're trying to join, but this one is going to have, what is that, 6 edges, and this one has 8. You're just going to use your insert point again. And the really nice thing about Fusion's modeling workspace, as opposed to some other modeling programs that are similar, is it will allow you to terminate a spline, just like what's happening here. So I'm just going to even delete that one too. And you can just add in a spline at any point, like so. And then I'll do the same on the bottom. Like that. And so now that I've added those 2 line segments, that's split this top curve up into 2. So now you have 8 segments. And now if you bridge, it'll connect. Let me see if it's even, let me try and make it not work. It might even figure itself out. Let's find out real quick. It's best practice to do that. Yes, so the edges from one side must be equal to or a multiple of the other side. Oh, a multiple is interesting. Let's see if I do 4 and 8, let's see if it's going to let me. Yeah, it does. Nice. It's kind of interesting, but.
And if you do it like that, will it create like problems? Or?
Not necessarily. I think the what that's done basically is it's kind of done it for you, where it turns this part here from 2 into 1. And same on on all sides, turn them from 2 into 1. So if that's what you're looking for, then yeah, it's just kind of like you know, you have options. I personally would kind of want to do that, taper it off exactly where I want it, but it's an easy way to do it. So yeah, great question. Any other questions? No, everyone feels like they could model some glasses right now, or already has.
Can you show them some,
What's that?
can you fill, can you fill the lenses?
Oh,
No?
it's a little harder with this style of modeling the glasses.
The one thing I did want to teach them was, how would you put if you wanted to put like a plane that's parallel to a surface, so if you did want to draw on the plane and then extrude or.
Yeah, we can do that for
Like
sure.
offset a plane, teach them how to
Yeah.
offset a plane from a point or.
So I'm going to go ahead and finish form. And it's going to pop me out of my forms workspace and back into my standard workspace. Now, real quick, I'm going to intentionally mess this up a little bit to see if I can make it give me an error that is pretty common. Cool. So if you get this error, T-spline model failed to convert, and it highlights a bunch of stuff in red, right? I'm going to hit return. An easy way to figure out what's going wrong, it's pretty obvious in this case, but if it's not, if you do Control 1, which I think would be the same on Windows, it's going to show you box display mode. So if you do Control 1, you get box display. 2 is box display with the smooth display underneath, and 3 is just the smooth display. So you can toggle between them just by holding Control and pressing numbers 1, 2, or 3. But I find that it's really easy to diagnose issues in box display. Like I said, in this case, it happens to be really noticeable because I kind of overdid it there. But if you're ever having issues with that, go into box display mode if it's saying T-spline model couldn't be converted, and see if you can find anywhere that it's kind of overlapping itself or intersecting with itself or something. And it should highlight it in red and give you at least an idea on where to start.
So if it is overlapping, what do we do? How do we
Just like what I did here. So like this piece, I see that this surface is overlapping these. I just go ahead and I start moving stuff around until it's no longer overlapping. So if I pull this guy over here, now it's not going to be overlapping anymore. Sometimes you have a bunch of weird twisted geometry here and like a corner of this punches through or something. I kind of just try and figure out what I can move in order to make it so it doesn't overlap anymore, just using the edit form tool. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and finish form, and we're gonna use the offset plane tool. So that's up under construct. It's your default for construct. This will allow you to put a plane anywhere. So if I select this plane to base it off of, I can then move this plane over. Let's see. Like so. Oh, hang on. I want to get this roughly, there we go, roughly centered. Okay. So I've offset a plane here. I'm going to see if I can show you how we could make a lens out of these glasses here. Bear with me, I'm going to be winging this part because I wasn't originally planning on doing it the way I'm about to show you. Let's see if it's going to work. So with this offset plane, what I was looking for when I created it, by the way, is I was looking to see if it looks like this plane is going to be overlapping this frame across most of the opening. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a sketch on the plane that we just made. And then you can always toggle on and off slice here. You see, this is going to slice everything to the plane that you've created your sketch on. Excuse me. In this case, I have a little bit too much curvature. I'm just going to edit my my glasses model a little bit just so that I can kind of more effectively show you this tool here. Let's see. Just trying to square it up so it's a little flatter. And then let me go back into this sketch, turn on slice. Okay, so now I have a slice and I have the purple ring that goes the full surrounding of my lens area here, right? So I'm gonna uncheck slice And I'm going to drop down my create menu and go down to project intersect. Not the standard project, but intersect. And that is going to let me click and select. I'm going to have to select a bunch of surfaces here. But this is going to let me project this geometry into that sketch. So if I hide, okay, I'm missing the center part here. So let me add intersect here. Enter. Toggle bodies off. So now I have, oh, nope, I need one more, this little connection up here. So I'm going to turn bodies back on. Intersect. That guy, okay. So now I have a solid shape here, right? And this guy I can then use to make a lens. So if I just go ahead and extrude this, let's say just 1 millimeter, just keep it easy and simple here. And then I'm going to change this operation from cut to new body, and then click OK. Now, I'm real quickly, and this comes back to where it was important at the very beginning to create the center line of our starting cylinder over the axis, because I can really easily just mirror this lens that I've created over that same axis here, and everything's going to line up perfectly. And then I can just go ahead and you can just right click on a body and go down to the appearance tab pretty quickly. That's what I just did there. And then let me find my glass. And then I'm just going to do the paint for my, my glasses here. Cool.
Looks good, Andrew.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool set of shades there. Pretty easy way to do the lens as well. There's other ways which I can show you down the line once you guys are closer to doing your designs. If you have maybe a wraparound shade, which is pretty common right now, happy to help out with that. But keeping things simple right now, just a nice flat one. The benefit to doing it this way with a flat lens is we could laser cut some clear acrylic and actually put some lenses in your glasses for you. We can also, if done properly, we can also 3D print clear plastic. I don't remember off the top of my head how much we have left right now. I know that we ordered more material, but I don't know if we ordered any more clear. So I don't want to promise that yet, but that will probably be something we can do is 3D print lenses in place that are curved. But the 3D printed lenses are not going to be very clear. They're kind of milky as opposed to a acrylic laser cut, which you could do with something like this with a flat lens. And that would be like a true transparent plastic that you can see through, and you could actually wear these sunglasses if you wanted to. Because this isn't something that I have shown before. So if I draw this out, I'm just going to walk back for the YouTube video. I have this line segment. If I finish sketch, if you go to your surface workspace, you can extrude just a line segment. And then I'm just going to extrude it to cut all the way here. So now I have this surface that like intersects the body, right? You can then use that to split this into two bodies here. So if you go to split body and you click on the body to split, in this case being the frame, and the splitting tools, and then turn off extend splitting tools. Unhandled intersecting tool data. I don't know why it's doing this to me. Hang on. Let me do this. I'm going to do it all in one line segment here. Okay, let's try that. Okay, so this should work. There we go. Okay, so now that's split this from this top portion here, and then I can go ahead and let me make this a little more apparent for you. Like that. So I use that surface to slice this into two bodies. You could also just keep it simple. Like if you wanted this to be like half and half, you could just draw a straight up vertical line and use that to slice it in half. But I figured I'd kind of show you that. Hopefully that gives you some ideas. Any particular thing you were thinking of, or just curious if you could? Yeah, that's how I would probably do it. You could also, if you wanted to, like the downside to doing it that way, right, is you have basically, you're forced to have this all be just an extruded line segment, right? Like this is all going to be one constant shape. If you wanted to, in the forms workspace, create like another plane that like overlapped it, let's see. See if I can whip something up here real quick. So like that, you could have, as long as this intersects, it needs a little more over here. As long as that fully crosses over everything, like you can do a more intricate form like that in the forms workspace rather than extruding that. And this will work just the same. Split body, do this, splitting tool, select that. Click OK, and then you just hide that tool, and then now you can do that guy in blue. So, and that gives you a little more kind of, you can twist and warp and do whatever else it is that you need to do. Yeah. Yo. What's that?
Oh, 828, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
When you do alt drag to a corner, I tried doing it a couple times a while ago and it was warping the thing. So it wasn't making it smoother. Do you have any tips for making it?
So let's see if I can, let me see if I can recreate it.
But it warps. But it what happens is it goes like this and then shoots in like that. So it'll warp it in the inner angle.
Let's see.
Instead of just doing it all in one piece, do
Oh.
So,
You saved it.
Oh.
Yeah, just eventually. I sent it to him. And,
basically just kind of rotating it as you go through the corner is what I would say. I was going to try and do it here, but it's not, it's being annoying.
You can play around with it.
yeah, anytime you're going from like a surface that's on this plane to a surface that's on this plane, you kind of want to like have a couple intermediary kind of loops between the two.
Usually there's many partitions on that one.
Yeah.
It's also taking SolidWorks.
What's that?
Just keep on outing it so that it's
Oh, you see
Yes. Yeah.
that?